appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate your interest in the great outdoors. I want to particularly recognize my friend, Billy DeVinny, who served on this commission 12 years?
15.
15. And we're glad to see you here. We missed you.
Been 6 years since I've been back, but
That's
I'm
right.
going to see you for long, and I want to make sure I remembered how the process works.
Okay, you remember how the process worked, Brother DeVinny, so we're glad to see you. I'd like to call on Jason Thompson. Would you open us up with a prayer, please, sir?
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you have given us. We thank you for giving us traveling grace, allowing us to make it here safely. Father, we thank you for the men and women of this agency. We thank you for our commissioners, our executive staff. I pray in the name of Jesus that you continue to give us wisdom on how to better manage the natural resources of this state. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good, Jason. I believe there's a change in the minutes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to be recognized to change the spelling on Commissioner Rhodes' name on the first page of the agenda.
All right.
Correct in every other place but the first page.
Do we need a motion for that to change the name? He just changed it.
Just change it with the.
Sharon got it, changed it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So
Any other comments about the minutes? If it did, I'll entertain a motion we adopt the minutes.
it's changed.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We've got the minutes. How about today's agenda, Mr. Posey? Any
I think
changes?
it's pretty much set. We will be going in, there will be a need for executive session after we finish complete
All right, sir.
other business.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion to adopt the
I'll make a
agenda?
motion.
Motion been made, is there a second? Motion made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, we got public comments today, and we have several of them coming up, so I would like to recommend that, you don't have to talk for 5 minutes, but we would tell you that's all you're gonna talk. So 5 minutes, you can get over what you want to say, but you don't have to go the full time. And I got a gentleman I've talked to on the phone several times. I think he lives in Lincoln County. His name is Charlie Davis.
Yep.
The first one on the list. We'd like to hear your comments.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
My name's Charlie Davis. I pretty much got lucky and did good in the oil field. I worked out there about 18 years, and I always dreamed of owning a couple hundred acres on the Mississippi River or close by. And fortunate enough, me and my wife decided we bought right at 700 acres over by the nuclear power plant. Being my wife, she didn't agree with feeding. She didn't want to spend the money, but we ended up talked her into it, and we started feeding. We've been feeding about 2.5 years and trying to grow a healthy herd. We're growing some big bucks. We've been able to, with the feeding hogs coming around, I've been able to trap them. I've taken 57 hogs off the place. Since the feeding ban, I can't get them nowhere on camera. I know they're there because they're still tearing up the place. I'm not trying to just slaughter the deer. I'm trying to raise a big healthy herd. Matter of fact, I'm dealing with Gatlin Feed on a lot of their supplemental feed and protein. I've been feeding them going on every month for going on 3 years. And we're starting to see a big change in the deer. They're healthy. There's plenty of them. We plant a lot of food plots. We don't shoot a lot. We're just trying to make it better. If we could, I'd like for y'all to rescind the feeding ban so that we can get back to feeding these deer. I went from pretty much 400 to 600 pictures a night. There are some people around me, they're gonna slaughter anything. I know a lot of them come and they eat and they bed on my place, and it's nothing for us to go out there and sit there and watch 20 or 30 deer and everything. Now, it's kind of sad, once the feeding ban hit, my little boy don't even want to come up and hunt no more. Matter of fact, he's back in Lincoln County where he's got a feeder going there where he can go watch it. So, I mean, I'm trying to do right. The big issue I have with the feeding ban is, you know, people like myself that's got 2,000-pound feeders and feeding these things 4,000 pounds a month is gonna turn around and get tickets for it like I did. But the man coming up throwing 50 pounds of corn out in the bottom that you can't find and shoot everything that walks over, that's the ones who gonna get away with it. I mean, there's not a whole lot more I can really say about it. The deer that, from what I understand, that was found and they put Claiborne County when crossed the river in Louisiana, it wasn't even on the Mississippi side. You know, so I don't have a lot more to say about it.
Well, we really appreciate you coming today. Did you tell me on the phone when we talked that you were doing something, putting out something to worming your deer or something?
Yes, sir. Dealing with Gatlin Feed, they have started getting with a bunch of these high fences. They're going out taking samples of the deer poop and trying to figure out what to put in it, things like that. And they told me they got me to put wormer in my feed. And right before the season, I went out and they told me just put 5 pounds in each feeder, and they eat it up. And it's supposed to help them, because my wife did kill a nice buck last year. And I know they're gonna have some worms, but I put his head in the freezer to get him mounted. When I pulled him back out, there was a worm like that coming out of his nose. So it kind of triggered the thought, hey, what can I do to help them? Because, you know, looking at it, if they got worms in them, they're not absorbing the protein like they should anyway, or anything else they eat. So.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming today. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Davis? But I enjoyed talking to you on the phone. I'm pretty concerned. I just want to compliment you on the job you're doing on your place. How many acres you tell me you had? 600?
I've got 700 all together right there. Now, I do remember mentioning to you, I know that the chronic wasting, me personally, I'm not a biologist or anything. I don't see feeding or not feeding, fixing it unless we can figure out what will cure this and put it in the feed. I mean, that's the only thing I see that's gonna benefit us as a whole. You know, if we can figure it out, get it in the feed. I mean, I look at it in simple terms. If I'm sick, I'm going to the doctor to get something to fix it. You know, so.
Well, thank you a lot for coming today.
Let me say something here. Law enforcement, please correct me, but this is really just for the general public to know. You can get permits for hog traps in CWD zone, but you're supposed to go through the department to bait for a hog trap. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah. So you can do hog traps and like inside a net or a trap. A lot of times the deer won't come to it anyway, you know.
Well,
So.
I spoke with a man, matter of fact, he just called me. He sells a lot of the hog traps, and he said right now, the way it works for him, that he has to put out feed for so long to get the hogs used to it and then set up the trap. He said his business has pretty much went to nothing.
But you can get a permit to do that, to bait, to pre-bait for the trap and all that. I just want people to know that you can do that.
Yes, sir.
In the CWD zone, so it'd be incorrect to say that you can't do hog, which
Well,
I think is
I'm not-
important. We got hogs, and I'm on land in Claiborne County, and so I know exactly.
Yes, sir. Well,
What you're dealing with.
the luck that I've had is with the cameras running, the deer eating the protein, dropping some on the ground, the hogs show up. After they show up for a few nights, I was able to go out, put out corn, get them in, mow, remove cameras, set up a trap, and I've taken 57 off my place in under 2 years. And right now, I can plant a food plot, and I'm not seeing it get destroyed like I did the first year.
Good. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Eddie Buckner. I talked to Eddie on the phone too. We're glad you're here today. Welcome.
Yes, sir. My name's Eddie Buckner. I've talked with Mr. Cooperwood on Delta Outfitters in Vicksburg, Mississippi. We bought it, sold hay days. We bought it in 2007. And I wound up buying the feed store next door right when they found this first deer in Issaquah County. It was, I started working the deal for the feed store right as they found the deer. And so I made several phone calls over here and expressed my concerns because we heard that, it might go into a feed ban and whatnot. And it just, I don't know, it's killing my business. I mean, people are still feeding. I think everybody knows that, but we can twist this thing up in so many different ways. I didn't come here to argue the science behind the CWD. I just, you asked me to come and speak on what it's going to do. I mean, I don't think we can look back at what's happened in these other states. Would they find the first case in 67? So we've been fighting this for over 60 years. And I don't know. It's just I've got 18 employees. It affects my family. It affects their families. And I don't know. I mean, we got, again, you can twist this thing up so many different ways. You got guys like Charlie that got a ticket for feeding deer. And, I got outlaws coming by shooting deer out of my front pasture and nothing's happening to them. So, I mean, you got a guy like this that's giving back to the community, but this guy's going to get penalized for feeding some deer. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And it's going to affect my business. I mean, if you look at what's happened, they found the first case in Wisconsin in 2002. I read an article called "Fire in the Sistine Chapel," and what it did. I mean, Wisconsin is a lot like Mississippi. It's rural, and I mean, deer hunting is a way of life. And I just feel like, every time we cut the TV on, we're talking about CWD, and I agree. We got to do the research. We got to do our due diligence, and we've got to keep studying this. But we're scaring the general public. I mean, I have people come to me and ask, is it safe to eat the deer? I mean, it's our livelihood. I mean, it's how I make a living. It's how I support the 18 families that work for me. It's how all of these guys get a paycheck. Without that deer, we got nothing. And I mean, it just, we can argue the fact what the CWD is going to do, but it just, the more negative we project, the anti-feed, all the arguing back and forth, it's not good. We're gonna see license sales go down. We're gonna see revenues at stores like mine, and there's one in every town. We're gonna see them go down, and it's not healthy for this business. So.
Well, we appreciate you coming here like I asked you to, and we heard your comments, and anybody any other commissioners got any questions for Eddie Buckner? Well, you in Vicksburg, right?
Yes, sir.
On the bypass.
Yeah. Eddie, I love your store. I go to it.
Yes, sir.
All the time. And,
yes, sir.
Over there, I bought a bunch of stuff from you.
Well, I appreciate it.
But so how much corn stuff? I mean, we know people are baiting right now in Warren County, Claiborne County, Queen County.
I mean, business is still good. I talked with Tracy Tullis about this the other day. He said he came in the store and said there's been a lot of talk about you around the department lately, and I'm redheaded and I get fired up, and last year we sold roughly $225,000 worth of just corn. I sold $125,000 worth of license for the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. And, I don't know one single person that has gotten a ticket for feeding, and until this man sent me a text of 3 tickets on his kitchen counter.
Okay. Well, let me say something about that. I know a little bit about that. I think that was a neighbor, and he told me they got at odds with each other, and the neighbor turned him in, and that's why we owned the property to start with.
Right.
Now, the 3 tickets, I'm not in charge of the wildlife, I'm at the law enforcement, but I thought that was an overreach. But that's my opinion. But the reason the warden was there, at the request of his neighbor, and he told me that, they kinda got it, so he, well, I'll just call and get you arrested.
And I came here to defend Charlie and defend my business and to defend this industry. I mean, I got 5 minutes to talk. I could talk about it for 5 days. I mean, we all could, and we've all done it. And these guys know, and it's just negative. I mean, WLBT came and I did an interview with them in 2018, and we can look at these other states and see what's happening. And I mean, I don't know why we can't work together. When this CWD first hit, and everybody hit that knee-jerk reaction, and everybody freaking out. I sat down with Joseph Mohammed in Yazoo City. We went and met with a lobbyist. We were going to form a little small nonprofit and to work with the department on when to feed, what to feed, not just protein, but joint veg and let's work together and not against each other. But there's just a huge disconnect. I mean, I have Mr. Munger knows, he comes in the store. I mean, we're a high traffic, high volume store, and I talk with these sportsmen on a daily basis. And I mean, 90% of the people or more are in favor of the feed. And yeah, I mean, people are going to point the finger at me and tell me I'm selling it, and that's why I'm for it. But anyway, again, we can argue that forever, and I know I only had the 5 minutes, and it sounds like my time's up. But we can work together and figure something out. I mean, why? We talk about not having money in the department. Let's charge a fee to feed. If you want to feed, charge a $25 fee, and then have why don't we have you got to fill out a survey. You got to turn in so many deer heads. I know we're having people not wanting to comply and turn in deer heads. Look, why can't we put our heads together and work on this and try to? Why don't we run? And maybe you already have. It's just like the COVID stuff. Every day you cut the TV on, you see another 100 cases. You go to the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries webpage, and another deer found it. It seems like there's just negative coming, and I know it's there, and I know we've got to do these studies, and we got to look at it, but I just don't feel like we need to. The public, we're scaring the hell out of the public.
Well, we appreciate your comments, appreciate your passion, and maybe we'll certainly consider it. Thank you for coming. As far as I know, that's all I got on public comment today. Is there anybody else that, I don't think I got another one on the list.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a motion at the appropriate time regarding CWD. I don't know when that'll be.
Under wildlife?
Let's go, let's when we get to wildlife.
Okay.
And I will recognize you for a motion.
Yes,
Billy,
sir.
do you want to speak later?
No, he's trying to figure
you
out
don't speak.
how we go,
getting
like
ready
he
to go
don't
back
know
to
in
the
15
football.
years. Okay. Appreciate the public comment. Jason, you did a good job on opening it up with a prayer. What about the license sales? Are they up?
Numbers are good.
Good.
Numbers are
Good to
good.
hear.
So our report for the month of October shows that our revenue is up 3% compared to last year. Resident license sales are close to what they were in FY22. Revenue is up only $7,700. The 3-day freshwater fishing license up 4%, and WMA permits are up 2%. That's 361 more WMA permits sold versus last year. Non-resident license sales up 6%. The annual small game license 10%. 7-day small game 17%. And our WMA permits are up 5%. The revenue from non-resident deer permits sold of $176,000 last year. The permit category is up 5%, and lifetime licenses are up close to 1%. At the bottom of your summary report, WMA app downloads, FY23, 3,810. That's 2,749 iOS users, 1,061 Android users, 8,541 set up for auto renewal this year versus 14,753 last year. And license packages, 5,249 sold this year compared to 8,764 last year.
Why did you tell me the auto renewals are down? Because people are, it's about caught up with itself?
Yes, sir. We've had auto renewal for the last, I think, 2 years, 3 years. So we have so many people that did it on last year, so the numbers are gonna go down.
They go down because
Yes,
they
sir.
had a big number already. Got a
Correct.
big number to start with.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions for Jason? We always appreciate your report, Jason. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Russ Walsh, Wildlife. And when he gets through, Mr. Commissioner, I'll recognize you for the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of things for you today. First will be license exemption request, and then I'll yield my time to Ricky Flint related to Alligator, Peleachi Alligator hunt. For the first thing is, Hope Outdoors is an organization that brings in non-resident, disabled, and youth hunters for special hunts every year, and they are requesting license exemptions for hunters that are coming from out of state for several hunts that they're having this season, as well as they're requesting 20 antlerless deer tags for a hunt they will be having in Marion County after antlerless season is already closed. This hunt actually will be in February, so they're requesting 20 doe tags for that hunt, as well as exemptions for their out-of-state hunters. So they asked that this request be brought to you for approval.
Motion?
Recognize for a motion's been made and a motion's been seconded to approve this. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We give my time to Ricky Flint.
Ricky Flint, Alligator Man.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Posey. Just a little bit of house cleaning we need to do. If you remember back in March, you approved Rule 5.4, which basically started a new season for alligator hunting on Peleachi Bay here in Rankin County, next to Ross Barnett Reservoir. Since that time, we've been working daily, hardly, to work on the programming, to get ready for the application process. And since that time, noticed a few things that we need to clean up in the rule that have come up, and you have a one-pager there that describes those changes and amendments to Rule 5.4. The first one, Part B 7A, clarifies that the applications must include 2 applicants. We're designing this system to have a partnership where we have multiple permittees in each vessel, and we're also trying to reduce the number of vessels on the water due to the small area, about 350 acres of water. Part B 7C clarifies that the hunting guests are allowed to hunt with a permit holder. We want to be sure that our hunters understand that once the person is drawn, they are allowed to bring guests just like they do during the regular alligator hunting season. And then Part E, Part 5O, we're striking some language that's no longer applicable, and we're adding language to restrict noise pollution by airboats due to the residential areas and immediate hunting area. We don't want to restrict a person from being able to use an airboat as it would be applicable, but we also understand that this is a residential area and we want to get ahead of that curve and restrict them to an idle speed while they're on Peleachi Bay if they choose to use an airboat. And so those are the only changes that we're adding to this Rule 5.4.
I know this is dumb, but how can a boat move if it's in idle speed?
An airboat will move at idle speed.
Okay, I've never been on an
Very
airboat,
easily.
so.
They're very loud too. If you go
They're very
fast.
loud, and we have, hunters that have used airboats on the other waterways, which are not in a residential area, and we know up front if they're allowed to do that, it's gonna cause some problems, but we also wanna be able to allow them to use them because they would make, great for access into some of those areas.
Ricky?
Yes, sir.
Or
Go
go
ahead,
ahead,
no,
Bill.
no, go ahead.
I'm not familiar with Peleachi Bay. Is it a large lake area?
It's a portion of Ross Barnett Reservoir. It's the far southeastern side. There's about probably 600 acres of water there, but we're going to allow them to hunt on about 350. And there is a substantial residential community on both the north shore and on the south shore that they're not going to be allowed to hunt in.
And a golf course and all kinds of stuff like that.
Once again, we're creating an arbitrary rule that is going to hinder, and this isn't my area, this is their areas, but, you know, if a man's out there in his airboat and he gets stuck on a stump or something like that, about that time the game warden pulls up, that the landowner's complaining, he hears him goose it, cause he's gonna have to goose it to get off that stump or the mud flat or lily pads or whatever it is, that game warden can go out there and write him a ticket.
I would hope that officer discretion would take over at that point.
I hope you're right.
Ricky,
I don't
Ricky
think
will be the
that'll be a
officer out
problem.
there. Ricky, you'll be out
We
there.
put our game wardens in a tough spot too, you know, because they're getting yapped by the landowner and, you know, so anyway.
Ricky, you'll personally be out there, right?
Yes, and I use an airboat there.
In idle position.
Yes, sir. I don't get over about 2,000 RPMs when I'm out there.
All right.
I'll move the
We got a motion, is a second. Anybody?
I'll make a second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
I'm voting no.
No.
Oh, we had a no vote. Duly recorded.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ricky. Alligator hunt is a big success.
Yeah. We got a great program. Ricky, y'all do a wonderful job with that program too.
How many gators they get on Peleachi Bay this year?
It's never been open to hunting on Peleachi Bay.
Well, I meant the new rule on that, I know we opened up that new park.
This is it. We haven't done it yet.
Hadn't done it yet.
This,
We're getting ready to do
it'll
it.
be this
May of 2023.
Okay.
23 is
Okay,
the first time.
thank you. But you did go out there on the survey and found how many alligator nests or whatever,
We found 19 nests that we can find.
right on that in Peleachi Bay. Yes. All right, Brian Ferguson.
You'll do his motion.
Oh, wait a minute, excuse me. I'm gonna recognize you for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Drew, y'all gonna have to keep me straight on this, legally, but, I'd like to, I think we're creating a new rule and won't be amending the existing rule according to Claiborne County. But let me tell you what I would like to do. I would like to make the U.S. Coast Guard navigational channel of the Mississippi River, the center of the Mississippi River, a demarcation line. And if a CWD case is found on the west side of the main Mississippi River channel, that we can't arbitrarily just put a Mississippi county on this side in it. So, now, if there's, I totally don't agree with the CWD stuff, and I know that's for another day, but obviously if there's a case that's found on this side in a Mississippi county or a Louisiana parish, as that river meanders, we have Louisiana on this side and Mississippi on that side, but making the demarcation line, the main Mississippi River channel, and if we find one in Louisiana, or if Louisiana finds one, even in Claiborne County on the Louisiana side, that we don't arbitrarily put the county on the east side of the Mississippi River in the CWD zone. Does that make sense?
You'll be modifying the CWD plan.
Okay.
And on the west side of the Mississippi River, in the center of the channel, as to Louisiana and Arkansas, then, if I understand what you're saying, then any deer, the CWD positive deer in Louisiana and Arkansas on the west side of the river would not create a zone on the Mississippi side.
That is correct.
But for those portions of Mississippi and Arkansas, however it applies, on the east side of the river, basically any deer that is CWD positive on the east side would create a CWD zone.
I'm okay with that today. That's another thing. The whole zone thing I got a problem with, but just for argument's sake today, yes, you're correct. That's what I'm talking about, and if there's enough support on the commission, that's my motion to create that demarcation of the main Mississippi River channel. I think you have to say the channel. You can't just say, you know, that thing's a little, which arbitrarily would take Claiborne County out of the zone today, or whenever it passes, correct?
Yes, if the deer was found in Louisiana on the west side, then under this motion to amend, that would take Claiborne County out until such time as if a deer is found, a CWD positive deer is found
In Claiborne County.
in
In
Claiborne.
County or any
Or
other
any
county.
other-
In Claiborne County on this side of the river.
Yeah,
Right, on the
it's-
east side of the
It's not just Claiborne County,
No.
it's all the,
That's
it's all
right.
the, all the river counties.
So it'd be a motion to amend the CWD plan as stated in the motion.
Okay.
You're talking about Louisiana and Arkansas.
Louisiana and Arkansas,
Louisiana
yes.
and Arkansas.
And I would hope, Colonel, that our law enforcement division would be in touch with the court system where we've been enforcing this rule, if it passes, to try and work through some, and I don't even know these gentlemen, but, you know, because we'd be taking it out. And therefore, if this would've happened whenever it passes, it's not a violation, so, anyway.
Okay,
That's
any
not part of my motion, that's just.
Right.
All right, he's made a motion now. Do we need to get a second and then discussion, or what?
Yes, you will need a second. in order to-
Okay, is there a second? Motion been made, Commissioner Rhodes second. All right, any other discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say a few words about it.
Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so, I've owned land in Claiborne County, and I grew up hunting Kings Point Island when I was a kid, and that's where I learned to hunt deer. And there weren't hardly any deer on Kings Point Island, but around Vicksburg and around the river is the only place we had deer. And so this area coincidentally also is my district as far as being a commissioner. And growing up, as we all know, that there was no feeding when we grew up, hunting, and, you know, you're just, like many of us here, we're just thankful to see a deer. It's exciting to see a deer. But this is a very complex issue, and I respect, you know, my fellow commissioners, that there's no easy solution to this. And as such, we're gonna do an education session in December to talk about this, maybe learn from what other states are doing. And so I would encourage anybody wants to come or hear, to please come in December or listen in December. Maybe we'll learn a few things. And like I said, I love your store. I love going over to Vicksburg and hunting around there. And after I grew up there, we had land in Claiborne County for a number of years, 10, 15 years. And again, there was no feeding back then, but I want to tell you the story about some of our friends up in North Mississippi. Terry Abbey, who's a friend of the commission, he's on the foundation board. He owns land in, I think, Benton County or Marshall County. And he says that there's no big deer anymore. The CWD, what it does is the bucks, they travel, they move, they're prone to catch it. So the whole deer economy, if it does get a hold, is gonna be decimated. And all the seed and feed and, you know, stands and box stands and arrows and ammunition and guns, all that's gonna go down. So anyway, it's a very complex issue if it does get a hold. Now, to your point, you're selling $250,000 worth of corn a year. People are out there baiting whether we like it or not, and they're just like, you hate to penalize the honest people, which is what kind of our rules do. Those that are honest and abide by the rules and don't feed, and they're abiding by the rules, and you have people that are pouring corn on the ground like it's illegal in Louisiana. And we have a lot of Louisiana people that own land in Mississippi and lease and hunt all around us, and that's fine. We like them, but, yeah, and there's Mississippi people that are baiting illegally, and it's hard to catch. It's hard, to your point, our law enforcement guys, somebody pours corn in the bottom of a hollow around Vicksburg, there's no way you can see it. They'll never catch them, you can't see it from the air. So it's going on, and to the extent that deer being concentrated, yeah, it's happening right now, whether we like it or not. You know, I think I would encourage the folks to make sure we get enough samples, because if you have cancer, and I agree with you, you hate to be so negative about it, and I don't want to be negative at all. I just want to be realistic. So if you had cancer, if I had cancer, I want to know it. You know, I want to be able to go get treatment and do, you know, radiation or chemo or whatever. If you don't know it, we're going to end up like North Mississippi, and I hope that those that can hear from our friends, landowners, property owners, and hear how their property values have gone down. They can't lease land for hunting and people are saying, why did I buy land here? I'm so, it's such a terrible thing. So the extent that, we can stop it, if we could, I think it'd be great. And to say the deer don't come across the river, also we know Mississippi State and our department had, buck number 140, radio collar deer. He goes across the river every year. The last 2 years, he's been back and forth 4 times. He starts south of Eagle Lake. He goes across to Louisiana in March, and he comes back in July or August, and does that every year. So there are bucks that do, and as you guys know from Vicksburg, you pretty much walk across the river right now. I mean, it's down so low, so it's not an impenetrable barrier, that deer can go across it. So the question is, for wildlife management, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, and I respect what this motion and what we're trying to do. We want to have a balance between what's best for the economy and for people. But what really guides me is 20 years from now, I don't want to look back and CWD's gotten a hold in Claiborne County and Warren County and other counties, and we have a giant, decimated area, and I didn't do everything I could to stop it. And I'm not saying the CWD zones is going to stop it either, but I want our grandchildren to have a place to hunt, and so stores like yours will be successful and continue to grow and be successful. I'm afraid if whatever we can do, we need to do. And so the analogy of feeders versus food plots versus acorn trees, I mean, would you rather go in a restaurant, where there's a bad disease not like COVID, but like Ebola, where you're 100% you're gonna die. If you get CWD, it's 100% a deer is gonna die. Those prions get in your system, they get in your brain for deer. It creates holes in the neural tissue, and they die a terrible death. And you don't know it for 2 years, so you don't know if a deer has it. They look perfectly healthy for 18 months, 2 years, and all of a sudden they go downhill really fast. So unfortunately, it's no way, but hopefully there'll be some ways where maybe there are ways that they'll find that they can stop it in the future. So I would just want everybody to continue to get educated, and we change this policy, that's fine, but get a lot of samples and let's find it. Let's not let that cancer grow, because if it does, it's going to decimate the economy for all of us. So I just want to be sure everybody's thinking about it, and please come learn more about it with us in December. So that's all.
Thank you,
Mr.
Bill.
Chairman, I'd just like the record to reflect, I don't know those gentlemen, I didn't even know what they were gonna talk about till they showed up. I voted against the original rule, and this is something that I'm passionate about, that us arbitrarily putting a county in across the river, and I'm familiar with the studies. We did a study on ours, and we had a buck go 20-something miles one time, so, but I do want the record to reflect, I don't know those gentlemen. This comes from our last vote on this, so.
All right, any more commissioners got any comments? All right, all opposed the motion?
Who's in favor?
Oh, excuse me, I thought everybody was in favor. All right, those are in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
Aye.
3-5. All opposed? The motion carries 3-1. The river will be the boundary. All right, we got that little problem over with, hopefully. Now I'll call on Brian Ferguson. I was looking out there, I didn't see you, buddy. Go ahead.
Morning, gentlemen.
Give us an update on the parks.
I do want to say I am going to call Andre up also to give a park update, but I do want to propose that we we table the proposed rule change this month while we do some more studies and some more data analysis on the dynamic pricing tool that we want to implement in February. So in December, we want to bring the actual rule for a vote.
You want to break a motion table?
Like just 1.1 or 1.1 and
1.1 and 1.2.
Okay, both rules.
So you want to make a motion to table?
Second.
Motion been made and second, so all in favor? Motion
Thank you.
carried.
I did put in your binders, you should have it says demand-based pricing. It's just a quick synopsis of the tool that we're gonna implement in February. So in February, we are bringing in a new reservation system statewide. And so our old system that we've had for the last about 10 years will go out. One of the biggest parts of that system will be this demand-based pricing tool, which will go in effect, and it's similar to how hotels do business. But so the reason why I asked to table that rule was because so we can look at more of those pricing. What we're gonna actually do is, instead of having set pricing at locations for individual items, to have a range for it. This tool will help us with reservations. So all these different points that are outlined in this demand-based pricing, the one pager here, we'll kind of give you some information to take with you so you can see, and if you have any questions throughout the month, we can talk about it then. So one of the biggest impacts on state parks right now is our ability to bring in revenue to support the state park system. So we believe that this tool will help us with marketing, pricing structure, and a lot more. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be really, really good for the system. So we'll bring some information back to you next month and give you more information on how it'll work for us. Andre, Barry, any questions for me?
Yeah, I talked to Director Posey about that, we're gonna do some letting other utilities maintain some of our services, like I know my company that I work for, Entergy, and then Mississippi Power Company on the south side of the state, are they gonna do maintenance at the parks? We're gonna let them do it?
Yes, sir. They have, so Energy, we've been in contact with a few of the EPAs, but making a lot of headway with getting energy companies to come in and change some of the meter systems. So part of the electrical infrastructure, we want to move to people who are actually certified to do the job.
Actually in that business.
So it'll be a lot of changes to some of those. We talked to Energy a week ago for Hugh White and Holmes County, also LaFleur County, and I believe there's one more in there. So
John Cowell.
John Cowell is another company, another one of the EPAs is gonna there, and then Buccaneer is also on. The Buccaneer will probably be the first one to go online here soon.
Okay.
That's Mississippi Power.
Mississippi
Power
Yes.
Company down there.
They'll take over maintenance of the lines and.
They'll take over, they're gonna change
transformers.
some, they'll put some underground line in, they're gonna move the meters closer to some of our, so it gives us, the least amount of maintenance possible. So if you move some of those meters closer to some of the buildings, allow us to have electricians to do some of the minor electrical work and not have to worry about transformers and blowouts and those type of things.
It'll help your budget out against it.
Absolutely.
Annual expenses on that.
It will, it'll keep a lot of the systems open and running more efficient too.
Okay. How about number 84?
Here.
Andre Hollis. Ole Miss Rebel. Glad to see you, buddy.
Good morning, sir.
Sir.
Y'all doing okay?
Sir.
I want to piggyback on what he was talking about as far as the EPAs too. That's gonna be huge for us because right now we got some employees out there that's having to, change out some fuses and different things like that. And really they don't have the experience or the qualifications to be doing that. So this is gonna be huge to be able to implement that. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Wanted to give a report as far as revenue for the month of October. Overnight revenue for October of 2022 was $761,554 compared to last year at the same time of $804,398. So the overnight revenue was down for the month, $42,844. The day use revenue for October 2022 was $100,192 compared to last year, $74,900. So it was an increase of $25,292 of day use revenue for October. The gross monthly revenue comparison for October 2022 was $861,746 compared to last year, October 2021, $879,298. So it's a decrease of $17,552 for gross monthly revenue comparison. Gross revenue comparison for July the 1st through October the 31st of 2022 was $3,467,076 compared to last year at the same time of July the 1st through October the 31st of 21, was $3,568,756. So it's a decrease, so far of $101,680. But I do want you guys to know, right now, we still got an average of $866,000 that we have made from starting from July to October. So right now, we still projected right now to go over $10 billion, and we can keep that same revenue going. So we still ahead of, we're not ahead of last year, but we're still ahead of a projected what we've been being in the past.
Good.
So park's still doing well. Wanted to give an update on your projects. We got a lot of projects that's going on right now. Of course, we got Buccaneer Splash Zone still going on. We had some minor problems down there, so they're still working on the splash zone. But the campground, and I know you guys will be happy to hear this, the campground is supposed to open on Monday. This coming Monday, we want to open the campground, the Gulf View, the 44 campsites. So we're excited about being able to do that. So we feel like we'll be booked up for for Thanksgiving holidays on those 44 sites. So we're excited to get those open, and we want to do a ribbon cutting later on for those campsites.
So those are one of the new ones right on the Gulf?
Yes, sir, right on the go. And like I say, we got pull-throughs, we got 5 pull-throughs and 39 back ends, and we just excited to be able to get those open because our pull-through is 86 feet long, and our bag is 76 feet long. So we don't have nothing like this in the whole state, so we're excited about that.
So what's the amperage? Have they got them up high, the 50 amp?
Yes, sir. We got 4 hookups. You know, those sites in the past, you know, we was charging $45, and they didn't have no electricity and water, and it was just grass sites. So now we got the pads, and then, you know, we got the full hookups, electricity, water, and sewer. So people don't be chomping at the bits to get on those sites.
What's the new price for that pad?
$85 for the back end, and it'd be $95 for the pull-throughs. So, and those sites, we won't be adjusting those sites at this time until, you know, to further.
Mayor Rhodes, you sound like a place you might end up.
I've noticed, last time we got down and camped, it was gonna eventually get completed.
Oh, yes, sir.
But they're beautiful sites.
Oh, yeah, they're right on the
Beautiful
Gulf.
sites, looking at the Gulf, right on the water.
They definitely are, and people already been calling, you know, so as soon as we open those sites on Monday, I wouldn't be surprised by Tuesday evening that they won't all be packed. Yes, sir, so we're excited about that.
That's
And
good.
we do want you guys to know too, that all those sites will be first come sites. We're not gonna make them reservable, because we feel like we can get a better, you know, a longer stay by just doing first come. So that's what we're projecting right now.
Andre, is any kind of help from the Department of Tourism or MDA or any kind of marketing assistance that we'll be getting any time in the future, or do you know anything?
Well, you know, we're hoping to do some marketing in-house, but as far as, you know, tourism and stuff like that, they haven't been, that I'm aware of. But
We have talked to, and Monday, Busy Mississippi is coming over Monday to talk to us about more of that marketing. So we have been, we've met with Craig Ray once already. So they are engaged with the agency and talking about parks and the rest of the agencies.
Very good. Well, it's a great opportunity because these parks get upgraded
yes, sir.
and things like that. That's an awesome place.
Yes, sir. We're definitely excited about it, and like I say, they'll be packed probably by Tuesday evening, so we're excited about that. And, yeah, another thing too, those sites being back open, they definitely impact our revenue, because that park down there is one of our busiest parks in the whole state, so we've been losing a lot of revenue by not having those sites available, so we're excited to get them back online. And also at Tishomingo, we actually opened those campsites up. We got 25 sites that we was renovating down there as well. So we got those sites back open on November the 9th. And tomorrow, we'll be doing a ribbon cutting down there tomorrow with a lot of legislators, plus I think Mr. Costa coming down with us. And we got the Friends of the Parks that's gonna be there. So I think we'll have a huge crowd down there doing the ribbon cutting tomorrow.
Well, it actually is up there.
Up there, yes, sir, up there, Tishomingo.
You
Yes,
keep
sir.
talking about the coast, yeah,
Yes, sir.
Tishomingo, about it far up, you can
Oh,
get.
yes, sir. We was there yesterday, making sure everything was ready to go for
That's a
tomorrow.
beautiful place.
It is a real pretty park, yes, sir.
So tell us about a renovated site. You got better connections, electrical
In
connections?
Tishomingo, you know, they only had 30 amperes. So now we got 50 and 30, and, you know, electricity, water, and all that good stuff, so, and sewer. I think.
Pads the same size?
These pads right here, you know, all of our sites in the past been 40 feet long. Now those sites up there is gonna be 50 feet long. So we made them a little bigger up there. We couldn't make them as big as, you know, of course, down at Buccaneer because of the way that everything is laid out in the campground. There's not a lot of area that you can extend.
Right.
So that's why they only went 50 with those. But we feel like they'll still accommodate a lot of campers. So for that campground, I think it's gonna be really nice up there as well. And those will be one of the ones that we will start once we implement it in February, March, or whatever, the demand pricing, that will be one of the campgrounds that we'll be doing. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's all I got at this time, guys. If you don't have any more questions.
Well, I tell you, y'all doing a good job, and people that, I don't know how you can get the word out, of course, on the website. But,
Yes, sir.
I mean, people that's never been to Tishomingo State Park, I mean, it's,
Real
you
quick.
think you're in a, I don't know where you think you are. It's in the Appalachians.
Yes, sir. Very pretty
It's
park.
absolutely beautiful up
Yes, sir.
there.
And we look to have a big day tomorrow because, like I said, we just riding through yesterday. It's a definitely really great park.
Okay, thank you, Andre.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day.
Yes, sir. Angel,
Yes, sir.
kiss an angel good morning.
Tishomingo, my favorite state park. I love it.
Right.
They're doing an incredible job. So good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Posey. Thank you all for the opportunity to give you a quick update this morning. If you turn to tab 7 in your binders, I've provided you with our update and also some photos. So the first photos you'll see is what we're looking at for our new front joint entrance, hopefully next spring, and our new gatehouse. And the next set of photos are from our ribbon cutting, Spiders Adventure Trail that we opened on September 30th. So I just shared some of those photos with you. And so I wanted to give you just a quick update. So from the playground, we have had 104,000 visitors since opening. We have been averaging about 1,300 visitors a week. So we're doing really great, having a lot of success. You'll see with our reviews, I just gave you a couple of the reviews, but we're holding right there at 4.9 with our Google reviews. People, they're just, I have no words, by far one of the coolest playgrounds I've ever seen. So lots of great feedback for the agency. As you know, we opened our concession stand June 30th, so we're having really great profit and revenue. So we're only doing the prepackaged items right now, but we are under a full renovation, so we're in the bid process for that. So once we have that full menu available, we hope that it will be even better. And so we did launch our mobile cart, our Spotter Snack Shack, for our Park After Dark event over at the museum. We had 1,700 visitors. And we made about $900 in 3 hours. So this mobile cart we were able to take out on the trail. We had an iPad where everybody could just pay right there, and it was incredible. So we look forward to getting that out on the playground, and parents, they can't pass it up. You're going to have to buy something. So coming soon, as I said, our concession stand renovation. We're working on that. We're working on the bid processes, and that new joint entrance and gatehouse we're looking at next May. The museum, the connector trail that connects from the trail from downtown will connect over to Lakeland. Starting to look at that. And then obviously the Lakeland Bridge, which I've brought to your attention the last meeting. We did get $1 million secured for the planning. Our request was submitted by Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith for the total of $12 million to actually construct the bridge. So $4 million for the bridge and then $8 million for the ramps on each side of the bridge. And so this past week we actually just got word that the turf company, Forever Lawn, they received a national award. It's the Landscape Project of the Year for our playground. For the design and innovation of our playground, they received this national award from the Synthetic Turf Council. So we were real excited about that. And we also received from the Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi Foundation the additional $546,000 we requested, as I had mentioned in our last meeting. So that's going to cover irrigation, signage, just some additional landscaping needs. So total project, $4.2 million, largest grant ever received from the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi Foundation. So we're really proud of that, and looking forward to tying it all up with these last few needs, and we will be ready to go for the next phase. So I just want to thank you for your continued support of the complex, and I'll take any questions. And I do have a video just to show you from concept, March 2020, to today where we're at. So does anybody have any questions?
We're going to see a video now?
Yes, sir.
Turn her on.
Okay.
That place is amazing. I can't, had a lot of participation.
Yeah, it's been incredible. It's been really fun. To think, being in a pandemic, it's been really fun and positive to focus on. We've inspired Tennessee. They want to do what we've done. So
1,300 people a week. Pretty good. That's it. Whoop. everybody ought to be proud of that place.
Thank you.
Somebody did a great job.
Thank you.
A lot of people.
The Museum of Natural Science, there's some things going there too, right?
Yes, sir.
Entrance and some things.
Yes, sir, we'll be starting on that. Yes, we've received $3 million, and so we'll start working on that renovation.
What's the timing of that?
We just began, we've done some pre-planning in the past, and we just started moving forward. Just yesterday was our first meeting. We think that we should break ground by the end of summer, middle of summer next year. And it's lobby renovation, all of entry, admissions, exhibit renovation, so pretty much throughout the museum. $2.9 million.
Thank you. Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Charlie. Jerry Carter. Where's Colonel Carter? Saw him last night. There you are.
I'm here, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning,
Glad to
Chairman.
see you. Good to see you.
Commissioners. Making our report for law enforcement for the month of October. Before I get started, I'd like to make a job announcement. Law Enforcement Bureau, now we are accepting applications for conservation cadets. Trainees, we opened the position up Monday. It is out there on the website, so applicants that's willing and wanting to apply to wear the green and gray, they are welcome to go on that site and apply for employment with our agency. We're in the process of, we're looking to hire 15 cadets for this next class.
15?
Yes, sir. And hopefully, with everything in the process, the 30-day process, through the State Personnel Board, along with the background checks and PT tests, we're looking to start our Makota class around March of 23. Yes, sir.
How many officers do you have now in the field?
Right now, total combined, we have a total of 220 officers. We just graduated a class here in November, 10 officers. Before that, we graduated 20 officers, so we got 20 new boots on the ground, 30 new boots on the ground, yes, sir.
You all have more or less 2 per county?
Mainly 2 per county, and it can be more with the supervisors as well as the captains in those said counties as well. Gives additional manpower, yes, sir. Okay. Law enforcement on the license and compliance checks for the month of October, there were a total of 226 citations issued. The top 5 are listed as follows. We have 52 for no license. We have 31 for supplemental feeding. We have 13 for no WMA user permits, and we have 8 for headlighting and 7 for trespassing. On the next page is our MSSP qualifiers. This was at McHenry, I think it was on last week. We had a total of probably 1,000 participants at these events at the sites, with a total of approximately 82 schools in attendance. The second round of this MSSP is forthcoming, with it being at the same locations, probably at McIver and also at McHenry. Had a good turnout. Our officers was there to assist, and all the parties that was participating had a great time. Everything was good. Give you a report on our shooting ranges, our customer counts, October 10th, 22 to November the 7th of 22. McIver had a total of 1,248 on customers. Turcotte had 858, and McHenry had a total of 491 customers.
Carl, that number at McIver is about 3 times what it normally is.
It is.
What went on there? People getting ready for deer
Getting
season?
ready for deer season, basically, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, they had a lot of students.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
Yes, sir. And at this time, commissioners, we have 3 individuals that are present for reinstatement on their, for license to get their privileges back. The first individual is going to be Mr. Joey West. This incident occurred, date of the violation was December the 27th of 2020.
in Calhoun County. The arresting officer was Officer Braden Reynolds. And if Mr. West, I'll let him come and tell you all the rest of the story of the incident.
Okay, Wes? Just relax and tell us what, from start to finish.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. He is.
In December, I was convicted of headlighting in Kansas City, Mississippi. What it was is I had been seeing some big deer out there during the day, and a buddy and two of my other buddies, we thought it'd be a good idea to spotlight and see if we couldn't get them, because we never had time to hunt during the day, which we shouldn't have been hunting at night. So that's what we did, is we spotlighted and tried to get a deer, and we didn't succeed, which was stupid, which we shouldn't have done. It cost us $2,300, I think, exactly. And I thought about it, and I hate that I even did it, because I can go pay somebody $2,000 to take me hunting during the day and kill a deer the right way, and that's what I should have done. I'm really sorry about it, and I was the one that shot at the deer, and I had the buddy holding the light, and I shouldn't have shot. I shouldn't have. I really regret it. I should have done it the right way, and like I told Braden, I was really sorry about it. I've talked to him, I think, 7 or 8 times in the past month, telling him I'm coming to get my hunting rights back, and he told me he was looking forward to me hunting the right way and getting out there and doing it, because I got a little nephew. He's be 10 here in about 2 months, and he's seen deer out there the other day, and he wants me to take him hunting.
That's the age to get him going.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'd love to be able to take him hunting. I'd love to be able to get my rights back to take him hunting, sir.
All right, now it cost you how much money?
I think $2,300, I think.
Did you lose your gun?
Yes, sir, I did, and my flashlight.
Okay.
Motion at the appropriate time,
Well,
Mr.
just a
Chairman.
minute, I think this gentleman here is remorse. He said, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
And we've had people come here that, you know, they tell the story, but all of them got the same story.
Yes, sir.
So, but you act like you're really, you made a fool of yourself is what happened.
I did, because my dad is actually a business owner in our town, and it looked bad on him, and I felt really bad about it.
Yes, sir, yes, but,
But I've hunted since I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and always done it the right way, and I shouldn't have done it the wrong way. I shouldn't have. I was a fool to do it the wrong way.
but good, I think we appreciate your being honest about, you know, the way you did it. But anybody else got any?
You're from Big Creek. Where is that? What county?
Calhoun?
It's basically right between Oxford and Strawford, right dead center in the middle.
Okay. What kind of rifle do you have that you like?
270 short mag, and it was actually my dad's.
Okay. You know how long a 270 bullet will go?
I do not, honestly.
Well, it's well over a mile.
It will. I did not know that.
Probably 2 miles if you shoot up there. That's the whole point about shooting at night is
You never know where
You
the
don't
bullet
know.
could go. It could hit somebody, like you said, a mile away. It really could.
yeah, it could. And that's why it's a serious offense, shooting
You
at
never know
night.
somebody's out in them woods like coon hunting or something like
Right.
that.
That's right. Or somebody could be out there legally hunting, tracking a deer, and then have them be walking around the woods back there, and the bullet comes flying at them. And
Yes, sir, you're right.
we really appreciate you, saying you're sorry, because like Chairman Cosser said, a lot of times we don't hear that.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it started out better than most of them, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
He said he was going to try and kill the deer, not just happen to be riding around and saw one.
I mean, he told it.
That's
He's
actually
he's about as honest as anyone we've ever had.
where I live, actually. I live in the middle of town. I have Piggly Wiggly across from me and Sonic, and I don't know how I have so many deer behind my house. People come by in the big trucks and all that. We own about, I think, 10, 15 acres right behind our house.
Make you bow hunt right there.
Yeah, I've never bow hunted, and my dad had got me a bow for an early birthday present, and I've been practicing with my little nephew. He got him one too.
You got your bow because your gun's gone.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right.
His gun.
My dad's gun's gone.
That wasn't real good. All right, I'm gonna entertain Commissioner Bench for a motion.
Motion to reinstate.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor to reinstate Mr. Wesson? Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you, sir.
We don't wanna see you anymore. Not under these conditions.
Yes, sir.
Colonel Carter, Your recommendation is to reinstate, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Correct,
I'm
yes, sir,
sorry.
you're fine, yes, sir, he has met all the requirements, so yes, sir, we make the
With the
recommendation.
PERS ed and all that stuff.
That is correct, sir, yes, sir.
Excuse me, I should have asked you that.
You will let us know if your recommendation is not to reinstate.
Yes, sir, will do, definitely, yes, sir. Next individual is Mr. Jared Brown. This violation occurred in George County. The resident officer was Officer Kevin Heil. Date of the violation was November 18th of 2019. Mr. Brown's present to give his side of the story as to what happened.
All right, Mr. Brown, you recognize. Speak. Tell us how it started, and how you got in this position.
So, basically, it was me and a couple of buddies at the house, me and two buddies at the house, and, you know, if y'all are familiar with George County, there ain't much to do around there. Well, we all got to talking, and it got later on in the night, and, we decided we was gonna go hunting, and, try to kill us a deer or whatever, because we ain't been having any luck that season. Well, it got later on in the night, and, I wasn't gonna go at first, me or my brother, and the peer pressure kind of kicked in. And when the peer pressure kicked in, you know, we all kind of just jumped in the truck and went down the road, and we was shining these couple of fields that's by the house or whatever, and there's normally deer out there. Well, I think a week before they caught, I want to say 4 or 5 people out of the same little area, and when we got caught or whatever, we tried to lie about it, you know, play it off, and it backfired on us, and we had to pay, I think, $2,500 a piece or $2,200, something like that a piece, and you know, after looking back on it, you could do a lot with $2,200 other than just go out, you know, and break a couple of rules or whatever, but anyway, looking back on it, it's a stupid decision.
Did all 3 of you get
Yes, sir.
citation?
Yes, sir.
Who lost their gun?
It was actually my dad's anyway. It was, since peer pressure kicked in, I was wanting, you know, grab everything, and I was like, yeah, y'all, let's go. And, you know, looking back on it, stupid decision.
So when you saw the blue lights, that's when you started denying that what you were doing?
Yes, sir. We actually, you know, try to hide the gun or whatever. And my brother, he was in the back seat, and, you know, he was a little nervous. And, they searched the truck and they found it or whatever, and, they seized it.
Did Monner get you?
Do what?
Was it Monner?
No, it was, Kevin Howell.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Motion when you're ready.
well, let me make sure, Colonel Carter, what about is that?
Yes, sir.
His story pretty well follows what he's,
It does, sir, he's met, and plus he's met all the requirements for reinstatement.
okay, now did all 3 of them have to go take hunter's ed again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I mean, they can take it online, they don't necessarily have to sit in the room, but, yeah.
We prefer in the classroom.
Yeah, I know it, but, they can do it either way. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Approve, reinstate.
We have a motion that we reinstate Mr. Cook's license. There's a second. Motion's been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, Mr. Cook, and we don't want to see you under these conditions again.
Yes, sir.
Lastly, Mr. Chairman, I have Mr. Tyler Cook.
Brown, excuse me, Mr. Brown, that's my mistake. Mr. Cook now.
Mr. Tyler Cook, county of this violation happened in Webster County. The resident officers was Officer Jared Patterson and Adam Wright. The date of this violation was January 23rd of 2021. And Mr. Cook is here to give his encounter of this incident.
All right, Mr. Cook. He lives on Gun Club Road.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just kind of a breakdown of the incident. We were over having a cookout at my aunt's house. And me and my cousin, we decided that we were gonna go out, ride back roads, and, you know, we were actually going out to see if we could shoot a deer. And kind of the crazy thing, that's the first time I've ever done that, and it'll definitely be my last. But we went driving down the back roads, and my uncle owns a bunch of fields through there. I mean, he's got acres upon acres, and I actually got my truck stuck turning around, and that took about an hour to get it out. And then when we come back through, that's when me and my cousin, we drove up in the field, saw the deer out there, and we shot it, put it in the back of the truck, drove back to my aunt's house, and Officer Patterson, he actually, no lights, nothing, just showed up at my aunt's house. And it turns out my other cousin's ex-wife had called in on us. Kind of, that, you know, that's how we ended up getting called. So.
Well, mostly the people that live out in the area, they'll call, they know their local warden, and they'll call and say, hey, somebody's out here spotting, or we just heard a shot. That's, I mean, our boys, they normally sitting out there, but they get a call, and that's when they respond to the call that they get. So, and that's where you were. You had the deer and the gun, so what did it cost you?
About $2,500.
And your gun?
And my gun. And it was actually,
Wasn't your daddy's gun, it was your gun?
no, it was actually my grandfather's
Oh,
gun that
well,
got passed
that's
down to
worse.
me. And the bad part is if he was still living, I probably wouldn't be here today because he put me in the ground. He actually worked down at the Knoxville County Refuge.
Oh, Lord, that's not good. Well,
Now, was it the cousins that was with you's ex-wife?
No, it was actually his brother's ex-wife.
I got you. Thought you were trying to get a little revenge.
That whole night was a crazy blur. A lot of stuff happened after we got arrested, so.
I imagine so.
She may have done you a favor though.
Yeah, I think so. Having to come down here, I've never been to a commission meeting and never had to go through this process and stuff. So I actually learned a little bit just kind of sitting here through the meeting.
Like you heard me say the other fellow, you know, the bullet doesn't know where it's going, right? And so it's such a dangerous thing, and you know, at least now you've learned, that's important thing.
Yes,
We all make mistakes, every single one of us. We've all been young and done stupid things. So.
Yeah.
Do stupid things now too. We're all-
Yes, sir.
The point he was making, a lot of people hunt late in the afternoon, they're shooting wounded deer, they don't find a deer right off, so they either get a dog or just they call a friend or something, and they out there in the woods, and you shooting at something that's dark, you can't see what's behind you, you very easily could shoot somebody, not a deer.
Yes, sir.
So you just can't hunt at night. I mean, it ain't too many deer out there in the daytime.
Yes, sir.
So I think you've learned your lesson, and I'll entertain a motion. Colonel Carter said he's already met all the obligations.
He's met all the requirements for reinstatement, so we recommend up to the.
All right, y'all heard the motion. Had a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor of reinstating Mr. Cook, say aye.
Aye.
Been reinstated, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that is our report for law enforcement.
All right,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, Jerry.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other business?
No, sir, I'm not aware of any.
Okay, do you think, we got our next, commission meeting for December the 15th?
What about the executive session?
That's
Okay.
next, that's on down the line. We're gonna have an education session, and Commissioner Munger requests an update on CWD.
Make that an education session.
At the education session.
Yes.
The regular commission meets on noon here on the 15th. Now, Mr. Posey, is there any reason to go into executive session?
Yes, sir. A personnel issue needs to be discussed.
Personnel issue.
Need a motion
Need a motion.
to make the determination to go into executive session?
Motion to make determination to go in executive session.
Yeah, and I got a second, all right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Commission is now closing to make the determination if there is a need to go into executive session.
Going to the church.
The commission has voted to go into executive session to discuss a pending personnel matter. The commission meeting is now closed.